Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Now, I was trying to do Andor one episode at a time and then have a chat with you about it. However, as I've said on the Wednesday podcast, what I ended up doing was watching Andor while I wrapped Christmas presents, which is nice, but basically I was, bored. Sorry. Andor's basic storyline is split up into chunks. Let's call them chunks. And the first big chunk is introduce Andor and Antique Stealer. With a sideline of Mon Mothma. Yes, many Balkans, and you'd leave it there. Right. We've got that storyline going on. Next block, it's the actual robbery and the effect that has on the Empire. He has to get away with it, but still has to experience jail. So he's ended up locking away for a crime he doesn't commit, although in fact he has just committed a crime. That's where we get to meet Gollum or the Emperor, depending on what version of this guy you know. And then after that, we've got the escape from jail, and then we've got, the funeral. And how many episodes is it? It's about 400 episodes long. That's what it felt like. It did take a lot of getting through. It was like treacle. I mean, deeply enjoyable treacle, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I couldn't, in all honesty, review each individual episode one at a time, because it just wasn't that kind of a show. Some things you need to review one episode at a time. Perhaps I'll do that with Wednesday next time. I know I always do it with Doctor Who, but I couldn't do it here. I'm not saying it was a bad show. That BMO robot annoyed me. Was it the wheels? Was it the age? Was it the stuttering, the Max Headroom style thing? I don't know. Perhaps it's just not my cup of tea. Perhaps I prefer your Mandalorians. Maybe it's because, what I like is something less complicated. Here's something that occurred to me while I was watching it. In fact, after I was watching it. While I was listening to a Big Finish, yes, more Big Finish, while I was listening to more Big Finish Blake 7. Right, a lot of you might have seen the meme, or maybe you haven't. A lot of you don't follow me on Twitter, which is fine, it's not a crime. Where I've gone, Blake 7 plus Disney Plus equals Andor. So here's the thing. You've got an evil empire that kind of keeps order and keeps everyone in their place. Yes, you've got space wizards in this, but the one thing that's basically the difference. Blake 7 is a bunch of people who are perceived as terrorists who have a valid point up against the powers that be. Well, that's Andor. Andor are people who fall for a terrorist organisation, become part of it, ourselves. There's a big overarching thing. I mean, obviously, Antiques Bloke isn't Blake, but he is somebody with some pretty cool stuff. The moment that the spaceship launches its countermeasures and throws its little spikes into space, that's just great. But there's a lot of standing around. There's a lot of being in prison. There's a lot of, there's a prison break in this as well. So when somebody asked me what would I bring back Doctor Who spin-off wise if Disney, my glib answer was, I'd bring back Blake 7 in a kind of a, yes, of course, that was Doctor Who all along. Blake 7's its own creature, it always was. I'm not being glib, but asking Disney to do Blake 7's a waste of time because they've already done it and they've called it Andor. So yeah, Andor is Blake 7 with a budget. Prove me wrong. Or not. So did I enjoy it? You know what? Weirdly I did. Thinking back on it, it has popped into my head on several different occasions. It's made me go, oh, yeah, that was good. Or, oh, yeah, consider that. So, was it better than I thought? Yes. Did it still take a lot of, well, appointment viewing? But appointment as in I've got a dental appointment and I need to go to the dentist? Yeah, that's more likely. Look, you can have your own opinion, and that's fine. I'm not going to rank Star Wars as an order, but I have decided to watch all of Disney's official versions of Star Wars. I'm going to do all of the Clone Wars. I'm going to do all of Bad Batch. I'm going to do, well, let's face it, I do have an Ezra Bridger lightsaber, finally, so I am going to go back and do those again. So, Star Wars-wise, yes. I did enjoy it. Am I looking forward to the next season? Perhaps I'll make a point of watching an episode at a time. Because watching them all in one go, well, that was just hard work. So until next time, be seeing you. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.